Months ago, I wrote a post about ageism. It's about how the system quietly asks us to shrink once we hit our 40s and 50s, about confidence and how to reclaim it when the world has been chipping away at it. I wrote it for the people who were doubting themselves, who were wondering if the best was behind them. And Michael and I, we go back, we met in London years ago. We hadn't been in touch for a long time, but his response on my LinkedIn post, I could feel the energy coming off the screen. He wasn't doubting himself. He wasn't asking how to reclaim his confidence. He had already done something about it with his hands on a mat. More than 10 years. And that thought sat with me for 11 months. Today, we are finally having this conversation. Hi, I'm Alice from Private Life, and this is Midlife Unfiltered. And I hope you will enjoy this video today. Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
All good.
We have not met for a long, long time.
No.
No, no.
I think last time I saw you is probably like 7 or 8 years ago, probably.
Really? Is that long ago?
I think so, yeah. It's pre-COVID.
Remember last time actually we met at the hotel that you work with. I told you about, oh, actually I met someone after our meeting. That person become my partner until today.
Lovely.
And
Brilliant.
I still remember that you said you will buy our first cocktails.
Did
And
I?
thank you for
Did I
your
do it?
cocktail.
Did I do
Yeah,
it?
you did. I say, oh, by the way, the drink you and I, we don't need to pay for. I said, because my friend, he already paid for our drink.
You made one out.
Just wanted to tell you this story. So that was the first episode that I have with you. Second episode actually is because of one on my LinkedIn. And I remember I was talking about ageism. When it comes to midlife, we kind of like started to shrink. Your message and the energy in your message flew all the way to Singapore and hit me right there. Because I
Good.
remember you say something like, wow, I feel so much better in my 20s and 30s. So back then, I have this idea about having my own YouTube channel. I told myself that the moment actually I'm going to have my YouTube channel, I like, you know what? Mike must come to this channel. And that is why you are my first guest for our Midlife Unfiltered channel.
Oh, such an honor. So honored that you picked me, honestly.
No. Thank you. Thank you so much. I first met you in London. You were already that fit. I'm always amazed that, oh, how actually you keep yourself so fit, connected via Facebook, so that, oh, actually you have been doing the jiu-jitsu.
Mm.
So maybe you can share with me, were you that fit before?
No.
Oh, okay.
First of all, thank you. All right. In reading your posts, what you put on LinkedIn, it's I just felt it is an issue that a lot of people face, but it's not that there are no solutions
True,
to actually
fair
face it,
enough.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why I felt I needed to write a post and just give it my sort of two pennies worth. And I wasn't that fit. I mean, obviously during the teens, early 20s, you hit the gym and so on, so on. Back then you kind of did it for aesthetics and to pull girls or whatever, right? It came a point when I used to do a lot of judo, and long story cut short, I hurt my back. I had like a double slip disc, like in L4, L5 in my lower back, and it knocked me out. I mean, I had 6 months of excruciating pain, excruciating sciatica pain that shot down to my leg, and that set me back like a good 3 years. And this happened sort of late 20s, just before my oldest daughter was born. And I was completely debilitated, and I just couldn't move, and I was asleep on the floor and everything, and it was that bad. Got to a point where I went to a private consultant, and I was about to have like a steroid or cortisone injection, and
So that was so
really weird.
serious.
Really serious. But I'm really scared of needles. Really needle phobic, and the consultant was saying, oh yeah, the needle's really big, yeah, it has to go in the lower spine, blah blah blah. My mind was telling me shit, you're gonna have a big needle stuck in the back, and it's not gonna be nice, right? And then, lo and behold, 2 days before the date of the injection, I woke up one day and the pain just went, completely went. Woke up and I was like nothing's happened. And so I called up and cancelled the injection. I said, I don't need it no more, you know.
Oh,
So that was, I think that was about 2010, I think. Yeah, something like that.
okay.
And then from then onwards, I didn't do any sport because of the injury. I put on loads of weight. I was really unfit, and I was getting depressed, you know, naturally. And but when the pain went, I kind of slowly recovered. My old judo instructor said, "Oh, Mike, Gav is starting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class at the club. Might be better for you, you know, less impact. It's more focus on the ground. You know, there's no throws, no lifts and whatnot. There's no slams, hardly." I thought, yeah, okay, give it a go, because I always loved the sort of grappling side of martial arts anyway.
Mm.
And back then, there weren't a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu clubs in London. It was still quite an early scene.
Mm.
And luckily, you know, Gav, my old instructor back then, opened up, and yeah, didn't look back. I was there for 7 years at the club. When I first started, I was probably around 86 kilos, which was
Oh.
considered quite heavy for my height.
Mm.
And then I remember I trained for a bit, and then I went for signed up for my first competition, and I fought at the 88 kilo category. And I was considered quite small for 88, you know, for that category. And then I thought, damn, man, you know, I didn't win, but damn, you know, these people felt heavy, felt strong, smothered me, and it was a huge learning experience. And then the next competition I signed up, I thought, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to cut to 82 kilos and fight at that division instead. And I thought, okay, got in there, thought, feels a lot better, you know, I can handle myself a bit better, I can last a lot longer. And then I think the third or fourth comp, I said, right, I'm going to go down, I'm going to cut more weight and go down to 76 kilogram category.
Oh.
And then got there, thought, wow, this is really my weight now. You know, I did really well and I won my first competition on that weight. And then from there, I've just never looked back, and I just kept at the sort of floating between 74 to 76 kilos for the last 10 years. And there was a lot of sort of maintenance work, and a lot of maintenance work was done through just consistent training, basically. Here I am, 12 years in the art.
So when you first started, it's because of your health issues. The thing is, before that, you were active.
I was never not active. I mean, it was a different approach and different training and different types of things I was doing. I wasn't really
Mm.
focused on one particular art.
Mm.
And I guess, you know, when you sign up to one particular art and you've kind of committed to it to actually see it through. And
Mm.
I say, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of those arts that I saw it through. And I thought to myself, I'm here now. And I've got to see it through. And 12 years into the art, got my black belt, which is a huge sense of achievement for me, especially at my age. I'm not saying that there are no old people doing
Mm.
jiu-jitsu, but I
Oh,
think for my own sort of sense of achievement,
yeah.
I actually can look back and say, right, you know, I've got all the belts now. I've kept them all, from white belt to blue belt to purple belt to brown belt to black belt. And there's and I stacked it, and there's like a, you know, a belt cake. I took a picture of it, and I said, this is what, you know, 12 years consists of, all the blood, tears, and sweat and other people's DNA stuck on these belts.
The belt of honor.
Yeah, yeah. No, it really is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no regrets whatsoever.
What make it stick for you?
It's the physical change at first. And also I think you gotta have passion, right? Hitting the gym is great. You know, you can run on the treadmill for, you know, an hour and a half or whatever, and then you
Mm.
go and do some dumbbells and some strength training and so on and so on. But that in itself, yeah, you will see yourself physically change doing that. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
Keeps you fit at the end of
Mm.
the day. But
Mm.
it's having that thought of, oh, I have to go back to the gym to keep my physique.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Mm.
sometimes you get to a point where you don't enjoy it anymore, right?
Mm.
but you have to keep going and going back just to maintain your physique and what have you, and your health. But if you actually do an art or martial arts and something that you really enjoy, that you learn from, and that you have a passion for,
Yeah.
then you just keep going back and back.
Yeah.
And also you meet new friends as well,
Yeah,
and they are,
that part is important. Mm.
and they are your club mates kind of for life, because I've been training with people for 12 years.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
so
mm. That is
that
true.
is
You'll grow together.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
it's so good. And that's not only me, not personal growth, but you see so many other people grow, so many other people change as well.
mm,
And I've seen, loads of case studies where I see kids started training at, I don't know, 12 years old. These come with a dad, and the
mm,
12-year-old would actually train with the adults together. And now they're like, I don't know, in the early 20s, and they become such good people, good lads, good girls. It's just simply
mm,
by doing the art, forcing themselves to actually talk with adults, interact with
mm,
adults,
mm.
and be humbled.
What is that exactly, this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that really keep you stick for so many years?
There's a physical aspect of it as well. There's no punching or kicking involved, as you probably
Mm,
saw. You researched some videos, and these
mm,
days, I think a lot of people know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is now,
mm,
because it's incorporated into a lot of the sort of MMA, mixed martial arts discipline. So anything that, the moment you go down to the ground and you start grappling, and you see a lot of that, that is Jiu-Jitsu basically. I think for me, it's a physical workout. It's a very humbling sport. I sometimes go there and I still get tapped out by lower belts or what have you, and you learn to sort of accept defeat, and you kind of move on and learn from it, right? And even when you go to a session and you go there, you're tired, you don't do so well, but you come away, you sweat a lot, and you had a good workout, basically.
mm. Yeah,
You socialize with your club mates, and it's just a good atmosphere, basically.
yeah, yeah.
But the art itself is also very important in that, because it's focused primarily on grappling and on the floor.
Mm,
So the idea of jiu-jitsu is to allow the smaller person to have a chance or fighting chance against a bigger opponent or attacker, and to come
mm,
away hopefully unscathed, and to reverse the situation, and so on and so on. And and I think it's so important for, not just for men, but especially for women.
mm,
Uh, from a sort of self-defense perspective, is really important, because obviously, unfortunately, a lot of things, when if it does happen to women, it always happens, when they're pinned down or
mm,
being held down or what have you. And then obviously, if you know jujitsu, you know how to sort of stay calm, control the breathing, to sort of mentally and physically deal with the situation there and there, and to reverse
mm.
things.
So is there any moment, it could be like a session, a bout or a sparring match, where you thought that something has fundamentally shifted in you?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, you know, you can be a bit hot blooded, right? And you don't like losing. No one likes to lose,
Mm,
right?
mm,
I remember when I first got my blue belt, which is the second belt, and then I remember I was sparring with one clubmate who is still a white belt at that time, but he was very good. And then and then he tapped me out. He submitted me in the first one, and then I got so angry. I thought, right, let's go again. Tap me out again. Okay, let's go again. Third time, tap me out again. I got so angry, and I just didn't understand why. And I was, a bit arrogant back then. I thought, I'm a blue belt. How can I be lose to a lower belt? So from then onwards, you learn to be humble,
mm,
because it can humble you very, very well, very much. And you learn to accept defeat, and you sort of learn from the experience to move on, basically. So, and that's one of the sort of major changes in my mindset after that experience. And then obviously, as you go through the ranks, you start competing in competitions. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Again, learn to accept defeat and move on, and then come back. Hopefully, you'll beat him, the opponent again next time. That kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I think the most important thing is learning to be humble. most positive experiences I got out of the art.
So how has that, like, being humble, like really watch our ego, taught you about how you handle maybe discomfort outside of your sports area?
So as you've probably seen in some videos, or if you see people do jiu-jitsu, especially in a competitive environment, having someone on top of you trying to do things to you, trying to submit you, trying to choke you out, trying to, I don't know, armbar you or whatever. And especially if your opponent is a lot bigger and heavier than you, a lot stronger than you, and they're just putting so much pressure on top of you,
Mm,
you need to sort of learn how to deal with that there and there,
mm,
and how to shift the way, how to use leverage, how to use technique, how to stay calm. Because if you're not mentally calm in that situation, then that affects you physically as well. You'll hear a lot of people like who do jiu-jitsu will say, "Oh, jiu-jitsu saved my life. You can apply it to everyday life, blah blah blah. You see things with jiu-jitsu, you do things like with jiu-jitsu." Yes, to a certain extent, because it depends what you do outside of the art, what job you're in, what industry you're in. There's
mm,
different pressures, right?
mm,
The stress levels. But I think jiu-jitsu does help in that, because you're so used to dealing with stress and pressure. So you kind of build a really strong mindset. And especially when you win, when you beat someone that's bigger than you, stronger than you, and you say to yourself, damn, yeah, that really worked. I can do it. So you kind of carry that kind of mentality through to your everyday life and into your job, into your work environment as well. And obviously the sort of being humble as well
mm,
really helps in the
mm,
work environment. And I think
mm,
um, this is particularly important in that what we're talking about now, and what your line work involves in terms of helping and dealing with people in our cohort, in our 40s, 50s, and who are going through the sort of so-called midlife crisis, is to is to be humble, basically, and stay humble, because you're not going to be better than a lot of people. You're not going to be able to beat a lot of other people. You're going to get a lot of younger people who are going to come up better than you in whatever they do, even though you're in the sort of same line of work, or sometimes even if you're their line manager, or and you're managing them and they actually outshine you, you need to
mm,
learn to be more humble and accept it and deal with it, basically, and don't let that kind
mm,
of torment you.
mm. I guess whenever people actually talk about midlife, the crisis word will kind of like it's come hand in hand. So how do you see as midlife for yourself? Like, how do you view midlife as midlife?
I mean, I am approaching my midlife, so to speak, on paper, but but I've it's really weird. Midlife crisis is a very interesting term, because obviously, like, growing up, we're taught what it is, and we keep hearing it, while we're growing up, and we just think, oh yeah, old people, blah blah blah, start flipping out when they hit their 50s or whatever. But now that I'm approaching that stage, I don't use the last word, crisis.
Same here.
Midlife, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe. And
yeah, exactly.
sometimes it depends on the conversation. I don't even mention midlife. Begin to see a shift in the last, I don't know, 10, 20 years, in that we keep hearing people say, oh, 40s is the new 30s, and
Yeah,
50s is the
yeah,
new 40s now, and whatnot,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think that's simply because of changing people's mindset, and also changing uh people's health, after themselves, physically and mentally. There's a lot more sports, different sports now. There's a lot of, I don't know, yoga, Pilates, a lot of things that, people in our cohort can actually do. Or
Yeah.
maybe they started when they're 30s and they continue doing it. And they've been doing it for like 20 odd years now. And they've
Yeah.
kept it as a regime, and into their sort of lifestyle and the journey. So that's why I think, um, personally, I think we should use less of the term crisis.
Mm,
um, and it's all down to mindset and how you look after yourself, and how
mm,
you then kind of transcend from there, and
mm,
use what you've learned, what you've achieved, be it professionally, physically, and actually use that to be able to still be able to compete and handle
Mm.
things that are thrown at you. So, and then for me, I think sport, exercise, fitness plays a huge part in us trying to uh, not use the term crisis anymore, uh,
Mm.
and just turn things around basically.
Just now you mentioned about acceptance. It's like sometimes it might be easier to just accept it as it is first, but that
Mm,
doesn't mean that we we just have to accept as it is and give up. But what can I do within my control, or how creative I could be within my control? The question
mm,
is about how. So that is why, like, you actually inspire me a lot, like in terms of the wellness side, it's like, oh, look at Mike, look at him, it's so cool. So that we like there must be a way to do it, right? How about your in terms of your body side, like, for are you around by the midlifers buddies, or actually they have different age, and how actually you guys, especially that in our cohort, how actually you guys talk to each other or communicate with each other or encourage with each other, because let's put it this way, our lives come with ups and downs, and especially for men, I'm not too sure. I mean, for women, we're quite easy to open up, right? We like to
mm,
share things, but
mm.
for men, it's like, how do you see yourself that when come to this manhood thing, do you and your mates, do you guys actually really talk about things that, like, you have a safe circles that really talk to each other, or even share the challenges that you face?
Yes, I mean, part of going to the club for a lot of people is pretty much like counseling. Basically,
Oh,
it's an it's an escape. It's escapism. So you finish work, you had a hard day at work, you go train, spar hard, chat, joke, and another club. There's no segregation. You're all training as club and training buddies, basically. At the club there are teens, there are people in the 20s, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Oldest guy there is 63, and he's a black belt as well. He's been doing it for like donkey's years. So yeah, we talk about the art. We talk about how did you beat me with that move? What happened? So you sort of discuss a lot of things, and like, oh yeah, I could have beaten you that way, yeah, but I didn't. I let you off, that kind of thing. But you just sort of joke around, and you have a little banter. But then at the same time, for example, my our gym instructor and owner, Ibby, he a lot of people confide in him. Obviously, he doesn't really share what's going on, but I see people talking to him in the corner, and then sometimes you can't help but see there are people who feel really depressed and really down. Something's happened. I don't know, family, partners. A lot of people do treat that as a temple, right? Like people going to the church to confess or something like that. They got something in their mind, or what they need to get out
yeah.
of the system. So we got this kind of really cool network as well, a really supportive network as well. So it's not just about trying to sort of choke each other out or trying to strangle each other or whatever every time, but it's really nice to see. And also me personally, as a dad,
Mm.
I go to the teens and said, "Hey, you revised for your GCSEs yet? What are you doing down here? You know, make sure you revise first before you come down and train," that kind of thing. So I really encourage the kids, and then
Yeah.
you see them go, "Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks, mate." So yeah, so there's a lot of kind of support and encouragement going on inside the club, um, and that's what makes it really really nice.
So is there any other things that you make changes as well around your life too, besides on going for your jujitsu?
Yeah, because obviously when I first cut weight down
Mm.
from, I don't know, 86 kilos to where I am now, sort
Mm.
of 75, 76 kilos. Yeah, you had to be quite disciplined, and to get
Ah.
there, you can't just continue stuffing your face and then go and train and expect to lose a lot of weight and so on and so on. So you know, I had to incorporate a lot of, for example, intermittent fasting. I don't drink anyway because I have this like Chinese gene that we can't break down alcohol, right? So my face goes all red and like, so just get massive headaches. So I don't drink, and that is a huge thing as well. But yeah, I think it automatically makes you change your lifestyle, uh,
Mm.
and become more disciplined to get to where you want to be. You have to have that discipline and mindset to maintain it as well. So, and that's a major thing that kind of changed when I took up jujitsu. Yeah.
So it's like it's not just about going for your practice, but it's also about how to have the whole package, like so that
Yeah.
you will be actually working so hard during the sparring time, during your exercise time, during your lessons. You actually need to be so disciplined, even with your food intake, everything else. I'm a bit surprised of that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it depends where you want to get to. So,
Mm.
had I wanted to stay at like, in the sort of early 80 kilograms, or I don't know, then I would, yeah, I'll continue eating and training and so on and so on, and probably, do more weights and hit the gym and whatnot. But I wanted to go down to where my target weight of
Mm.
75, mid 70s, that kind of thing. So, and you need to be quite disciplined and be careful what you eat, what you do, and so on and so on. You just need to work towards a point where you feel comfortable. And yeah, I mean, not everyone's different, right? So they've
Mm.
got different
Mm.
goals and where they want to be at and so on and so on. But yeah, that's part and parcel of doing it, I think.
So, what did you have to let go of, right? Maybe it could be the habits, it could be the patterns, or maybe even relationships to make space for this version of yourself that you are striving to be.
I owe a lot to my wife, who, yeah, yeah. Sometimes she always says, "Oh, she's a jiu-jitsu widow," because I do train like 3, 4 times a week. Um,
Mm.
um,
Just so widow.
yeah. I mean, back in the day, I mean, she would come home because she's a doctor, right? So she works really hard
Um,
at hospital in the day, and then come back home and start cooking. And then I would come home from work around sort of 7 o'clock. I say, "Oh, hi everyone, hi everyone. I'm getting changed and I'm going training," that kind of thing. And she understood,
mm,
and she accepted it, and she was all right with it, which I'm really really grateful for. So I dedicated a speech to her when I got my black belt at the club, and she was there and so on and so on.
that's
And
so
it is, I owe a lot
sweet.
to her. I owe a lot to
Mm,
her. But obviously now, um, I'm at a very fortunate position where I work with her now. I
mm,
help her run the private gynaecology practice that she's got.
mm,
So I get to work from home.
mm,
I can just make sure everything's okay at home. The girls are okay. Sometimes, I give them a lift to school and so on and so on. And I'm just here. So I take the
mm,
stress pressure away from her. Um,
mm.
uh, and then still continue to train. So, which is very fortunate to have this kind of lifestyle. So
So it's kind of like you are happy. I mean, of course, you appreciate what your wife being so understanding and also
yeah,
supportive, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
sometimes understanding is one thing, but what if she say like, no, you have to take care of the family first before you go for jujitsu? That might it might be a bit challenging.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I never. I don't think I've never had to sacrifice anything in terms of like friendships or people in order to do what I
Mm,
do. It's not like that. It's you kind of make time. You just need to make space, and sometimes you need to do it for yourself. And if other people come across people like that, then there's no point retaining the friendship, right? I mean, you're just like stopping me from doing what I want to do, and so on and so on. And I'm not doing anything that's bad or unhealthy. So it's just, and I think that's what my wife said. Yeah, you're not doing anything bad. You're not doing anything. Just carry on. I swear you're next.
mm.
Yeah.
How about any habits that you have when you first started that it's kind of like because it's habits, right? We are the animal of habits as well. Is there any
Mm.
habits that you had in the past that you really struggling to let go of, but you managed to let go at the end of the day to be you today?
Not really. I mean, I never
Oh,
really had any bad habits or any
mm.
habits that I had to let
And you
go of. I
can't
mean,
drink and you don't drink.
exactly. I don't drink.
Mm,
I don't gamble because I have no luck in gambling. And Chinese love
mm,
gambling, right? So I have no luck in it, and therefore I don't touch it. Um, So yeah, I think a lot of vices these days, I don't really, never really kind of touched it really. So I have nothing to compare it with. Um,
Mm.
so yeah,
So far, so it's good, yeah. And
yeah,
with the
so far
support
so
from
good.
your wife, everything even
Exactly.
goes more smoothly. Someone might be watching this, so they probably will be in their 40s or 50s or even 60s. And they might be actually curious about starting a martial art or um, something that could be quite demanding. And but they might have a voice in their head that is saying like, oh, I'm too old, oh, I will get hurt, or I will actually sprain my back, I will look ridiculous, and I'm going to like, why should I want to look so silly in front of the youngsters these days? What would you actually say that to that person?
I say throw that mentality out the window. Really is, because in particularly, look, I can't speak for all types of martial arts. So if you go, I don't know, kickboxing, Thai boxing, yeah, very, very quite brutal, right? You don't want to go to work the next day with a black eye or a cut lip and what have you, But whereas jiu-jitsu, there's no punching or kicking involved, and it's purely grappling, and you can really tailor it to your own ability. You don't have to go
Mm,
crazy. You don't have to go fast. And
mm,
again, having that kind of humble mindset. Yeah, I am going to go there and I'm going to lose to a, 22-year-old or whatever. Okay, it's
mm,
fine. I came down here. I moved. I exercised. I sweat. I had a good time. Got a dosage of endorphin and what have you. Um, it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. It doesn't have to be martial art. You just have to pick a sport, do some exercises, go on, I don't know, go jogging, you know, go with some friends and so on and so on. You just need to tailor whatever you do, tailor it to your ability, and something that you
mm.
enjoy and that you can actually develop passion for. And that's how you continue.
But what
And
what if what if they don't enjoy?
then if you don't enjoy it, that's what I say, it comes back to the point where some people go to the gym, they did
Mm,
enjoy it to begin with, and then they see the physical change, they get hooked a little bit, and then they have to go back and maintain it. So therefore, they
mm,
have to think, "Oh, I'm just going to the gym. I don't really enjoy running on a treadmill or for an hour and a half, but I have to do it in order to maintain this physique." So yeah, you're achieving the physical aspect of it, right? But mentally, are you really enjoying it? Do you have a passion for it? Are you actually
mm,
learning anything from it, right? So
mm,
that is the major difference between going to the gym and picking an art or martial art that you actually learn from.
mm,
So, but like I say, whatever you do, I just think um, these days, I think in our cohort, it's no longer about aesthetics anymore. Getting
mm.
fit is for your heart as well.
Yeah.
It's for your mental well-being. It's for your health. It should be incorporated in as part of your regime.
Mm,
Obviously, if you do see physical changes and you're getting fitter, you're getting stronger, you're getting leaner, and you look good,
yeah.
and there's always a saying: you look good, you feel good, and then you develop more confidence in yourself. And I
Yeah.
think this is one of the most important things is that once you've achieved these things and you've developed more confidence,
Mm,
now you take all these elements and you go and compete and challenge against the Gen Zs, the millennials, right?
mm,
Whatever you're going to do, whether be it from a combat physical environment or professional work environment.
mm,
And coming back to your point in that, you know, um, about the work environment, for example, um, unfortunately, I think it's going to get harder for our cohort to maybe start looking for a new profession, new career, or they went through bouts of redundancy and they feel and they're panicking and they feel stressed and pressure in finding another job.
mm,
Um, it, I think it's going to get harder, with the sort of younger people coming online now, and also with AI taking
mm.
over, industries that you have to have that strong mindset in order
Yeah.
to overcome these things.
Yeah.
And even before you get to that stage, you have to start looking after yourself
Mm,
physically and mentally, your well-being.
yeah.
Because if you don't, what good are you then? What can you do? Right?
Mm,
You're not able to then take on more stress, take on more pressure. right?
Mm.
And you still
Yeah.
got this ego where I can't believe this guy, 10 years younger than me, got hardly any experience, and he got the job and I didn't. So you need to learn how to, again, accepting defeat, be humble, move on. Yeah. If it's not yours, it's not yours at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't even see it as defeat, just that the world has changed. So did you ever come across that yourself?
Yeah. That's why I decided to come out and help my wife run the business.
Mm.
I could have carried on what I was doing. Um,
Oh.
but was I happy? Not really. But,
Mm.
just I was fortunate enough to have this opportunity to work with her. And
Mm.
to all you people out there, working with your partner is not too bad actually. It does work. It does work. Don't listen to what other people are saying. Oh, husband and wives they work well, blah blah blah. No, 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 no. It's all right. It's okay. As long as you have a mutual understanding and so on and so on. And I have a vested interest in it because it's like a family
Mm.
business now, right? So I'm gonna
Mm.
try and help out a bit more and do more for my wife and the business and so on and so on. So support her in that way. Um, but yeah, coming back to your point, I think uh, we have a lot more to offer, and I think I did mention this in your LinkedIn post.
Mm.
Not only experience, um,
Mm.
but we've seen more. And like you said
Yeah.
just now, like we are still connected to the tech side of things as well,
Yeah.
but we can add more to that.
Yeah.
Whereas I've managed younger people back in the day, not that long ago,
Mm.
and I was just starting to see that these like Gen Zs and millennials and so on and so on, they're very techy,
Mm.
um, very fast and doing what they do, but they're still lacking something. And I think one of the major things is respect, and also that human connection, because so many things, it's just so easily accessible through the phone, and you just need
Mm.
to. They don't even bother making a call these days to talk to people, their clients and so on. Everything's on LinkedIn or in mail, reach out. Oh, hi, blah blah blah. I'm so and so. Would you be interested in that? No, we're never going to listen to that. Never going to read that message properly and take you seriously. So they're kind of missing that human connectedness aspect of it.
Mm.
So I used to do sales and marketing in the hotel industry. Um, I was quite old school. And
Mm.
we used to do cold calling and reach out to potential clients and go out there and meet people, networking events.
Mm.
But I think the younger ones these days, they don't want to do that anymore. You know,
Mm.
just everything is just so easy, easily
Mm.
accessible. So they kind of lost that kind of skill. And that's one thing that our cohort can still offer. A lot of
Mm.
potential employers and companies and so on, and bring more value that way. But obviously, in doing so, before you do all that, I still think look after yourself mentally and physically, number one, first.
Mm. That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna look the part, you're gonna feel the part, you're gonna be confident. Yeah. I
Mm.
guess I guess like if you're gonna apply for a job and then you get an interview and then, you're up against, I don't know, another 20, 30, 40 people that are younger than you.
Mm.
But if if you look confident and you are confident
Mm.
and you have all this like knowledge and experience they can bring on board, yeah,
Mm.
fair play, you
That's
know?
true. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, especially we could be potentially live longer these days as well because there are still so much to learn.
yeah,
There's just still so much to experience. It's like there's still so much. It must be a lot to learn for another 30, 40 years.
yeah,
How do you
yeah,
feel about that? Like, we are going to live until 80, 90 years old.
yeah. I mean, I'm 40. I'll be 49 in July. So again, I'm creeping up that kind of 50 mark as well. Like you said, like um, we don't feel it,
Mm.
and you shouldn't have to feel it. I got a few grey hairs and whatnot, and I have to take some joint supplements while I continue to train, and so be it. There are certain things you need to accept, right? But
Mm.
I will not accept that I'm coming up to my 50s and be some of my old school friends where they are at the moment, you know,
Mm,
whether they're physically unfit or unfortunately some have even passed away, due to
yeah.
illnesses and so on. So
Mm,
I think it's so important that in our age, we just have to really look after ourselves. Cancer rates going up, you know,
mm,
everywhere. There's lots of processed food now, and then unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. So that's why health and fitness is even more important now for
mm.
for people. Um, so yeah, I think it's so important.
Thank you. Thank you for, agreeing to have this chat with me online. So I just want to ask one last question. So given that, we are going to live longer, um, how do you see yourself? What would your life look like if nothing changed in the next 5 years?
I'll still be buying lots of Shiseido face cream. Uh, yeah, good stuff. Um,
Yeah, you
Shiseido
do. You
serum.
have, yes, correct. You really use serum, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
And so I tell a lot of guaylos in the club as well, right? I said, "Hey, man, you gotta." They always say, "Oh, it's Chinese gene, isn't it? Chinese gene, isn't it?" Like, no, it's not just Chinese genes. It's I do use face cream as well, and I do have a regime. So I've inspired like a few sort of Guaylos and Westerners to actually adopt that kind of regime as well. It's quite funny actually. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to continue for as long as I can being fit and continue in jiu-jitsu for as long as I can.
Mm.
And and it's quite nice that I'm not boasting or anything, but it's quite nice when your daughter's friends go, "Oh, your dad's still quite, quite fit and everything," like, and it's quite a nice compliment, right? And your kids are proud
Ego
of.
brush.
Well, yeah, yeah, and the kids are quite
Ego
proud of you,
stroke.
like the kids are quite proud of you and things like that. So that's a really nice feeling.
Mm.
It's very positive for me. But having said that, sometimes when my daughters, especially my younger daughter, when we go out, she loves putting her arms around my arm, and then like we're walking around
Oh.
supermarket and so on, and then I get some weird stares from like people like, "Oh God, is he a pedo? Is he a pedophile or something like
My gosh.
So you need to be careful of that kind of thing.
But how
But
old
yeah,
is your daughter? You have one or two?
two.
How
One
are they?
is one is 17 and one is going to be 15
Ah,
soon.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah,
Because they might look a bit matured, right? And then
yeah.
you look younger. Okay, I
You know what I
understand
mean?
that
It's that
look
kind of
right now. Yeah,
imbalance, like,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
and then you just get some suspicious looks and like, oh, either lucky guy or pedo, like. So, but jokes aside, I'm gonna be trying to be a badass granddad as well. So,
Oh.
so
So it's
yeah.
like you have two babies, like doing all the weightlifting.
So yeah.
So from what I gather, you definitely take care of yourself well physically, right? And then you eat well as well. And it's good to know that as a man, you do take care of your skin well as well.
Yeah,
So
try
what
to.
else? What else do you do? What else do you do as a midlife man?
uh, like I say, food is very important. What you eat
Mm,
these days.
mm,
Not too much processed food. Basically, you have to make allowance for your health. So you can't escape all these processed foods anymore. They're everywhere,
mm.
and especially for Asians and in Southeast Asia and so on. You finish work late. You don't want to go home and cook. You're eating out nearly every night. And then you eat out again on the weekend and so on and so on. So it's not that great for you. So you need to make allowance, and that's why fitness um, is very, very important, and especially for women. Strength training for women is also very, very important. It's not just cardio.
Yeah. Yeah. The very beginning, which I totally agree with you, is really about actually there are so much more that we can do. Because like
Mm,
when I have a chat with my mom, like I ask her about how her perimenopause stage looks like to her, she said that yeah, she went to the doctor and the doctor just say, well, too bad, this is just part of life, and just
Mm,
go and take some, I think it's a primrose oil or something. So I would say that I'm actually lucky for our age, because we definitely not just about education that we received, but also we are comfortable with tech. So that's why, we will actually learn more about like how could I make myself better? How can I make my life better? How can I make myself feel better these
mm.
days, right? And also it's kind of my job as well, to go and learn as much as I can so that I can actually share with our community as well. That is why Prime Midlife was born, because I just want to normalize this conversation. I want midlife become our badge of honor. It's like the
Mm.
people actually who step into 40. I'm proud to step into my 40s, because I actually have this badge of honor in me with my life, with my experiences, with the thing that I went through. I come to this and I'm actually ready to build the second part of my life. And this time round, I will do what I really, really wanted to do and do well. So that is actually how I really, really would love to have like-minded people to come along to do that. That's all from my side, dear Mike. Thank you so much for being my first guest, and being so
No, thank
impromptu
you.
about it, and just being so open with all the questions. And do you have any things that you want to share with people that in midlife right now, be it physical, our physical health, our mental health, and just us being midlifers? Do you have any things that you really want to share with them?
Yeah, be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Without that, what good is money, right?
Mm.
Chasing all the dreams and so on. When we wish people Happy New Year, 恭喜發財, like it's always like
Yeah.
wish you rich, like
Yeah.
No, I always say like心想事成, or or 身體健康, that kind of thing, wishing
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
good health instead,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I've seen so much just yeah bad
I
health
still like
people.
恭喜發財 though.
Oh yeah, of course. I always say 恭喜發財, and then 身體健康 afterwards, like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, stay happy and healthy. That's why.
Thank you so much. Hereby, I wish you, all happiness and joy in your life. And thank you so much. Right. So, here we go. Bye.